some places weren't destroyed. They're still standing, still intact, still livable. And yet, no one lives there. Not because of war, not because of collapse, but because staying meant slow danger. An entire town burning underground for over 60 years. A sea that vanished, not by nature, but by human decision. These are places where people were forced to walk away. Centralia, USA. The town that never stopped burning. In 1962, a coal mine beneath Centralia caught fire. It never stopped burning. Toxic gases seeped into homes. The ground cracked open. Carbon monoxide rose silently. At first, people stayed. Then one family left. Then another. Not because they wanted to, but because the earth beneath them had turned hostile. Today, the fire still burns. Experts believe it could continue for another 200 years. Centralia wasn't destroyed. It was abandoned, because the ground itself became the threat. Wittenoom, Australia. The invisible killer. Wittenoom was built on asbestos mining. At the time, it meant jobs, opportunity, growth. But the dust in the air carried microscopic fibers. You couldn't see them. You couldn't smell them. But they stayed in your lungs. Years later, diseases began to appear. By then, it was too late. The government declared the town uninhabitable. Buildings were demolished. Road signs were removed. Wittenoom was erased from official maps. It wasn't a sudden disaster. It was a slow realization that the air itself was deadly. But toxic air and burning ground aren't the only forces that can erase a place. Sometimes, there's no fire, no poison, no soldiers, just water. And it doesn't arrive all at once. It comes quietly, a little more each year. Until one day, there's nothing left to stand on. Oradour-sur-Glane, USA. The land that shrank. For generations, families lived on Oradour-sur-Glane. Then the water began rising. Storms intensified. The shoreline retreated. Land disappeared year after year. Over 90% of the island was lost. Homes flooded regularly. Road access became unreliable. Eventually, the government offered relocation. Most families left. A few stayed, choosing heritage over safety. This wasn't an evacuation in a single night. It was a retreat measured in inches of water. Oradour-sur-Glane, France. Frozen in time. In June 1944, during World War II, German SS troops entered the village of Oradour-sur-Glane. Within hours, 642 civilians were killed. After the war, France made a decision. The village would remain exactly as it was. Not rebuilt. Not repopulate. Preserved as a memorial. Cars still rust in the streets. Walls stand open to the sky. Silence fills what used to be homes. Oradour wasn't abandoned by nature. It was left untouched. So history could never be erased. Aral Sea towns. The sea that was starved. The Aral Sea was once one of the largest lakes on Earth. Fishing towns lined its shores. Boats crossed open water. Entire communities depended on it. Then, in the 1960s, the rivers that fed it, Amu Darya and Sir Darya, were diverted to irrigate vast cotton fields. Less water flowed in, but evaporation never stopped. Year after year, the shoreline pulled back. Ports became desert. Boats were stranded in sand. Salt and chemical residue spread across the exposed seabed. When the wind rose, toxic dust followed. The fishing industry collapsed. Families left. By the 2000s, nearly 90% of the sea was gone. A small northern section has partially recovered, but much of it remains dry. The Aral Sea did not vanish by accident. It was starved. And unlike the other places, this one wasn't destroyed in hours. It disappeared slowly, while the world watched. These places weren't forgotten. They were surrendered. To fire. To poison. To rising water. To war. To human decisions. Civilization feels permanent, until it isn't. Sometimes survival means leaving everything behind.